Good morning. My name is Sister Lorraine Wesolowski, and I'm from the Congregation's Communication Office. And we're happy that you could all be with us this morning in this sacred space of St. Anthony's Convent Chapel and the shrine of Mother Marianne Cope. We have some very good news to share with you today. And this morning, you will meet those who had a pivotal role in bringing us to this day. And once the presentations are completed, you will have the opportunity to ask questions. So without further ado, I invite Sister Patricia Burkhardt, General Minister of the Congregation, to speak with you.
Thank you, Sister Lorraine. And I want to add my words of welcome to those of Sister Lorraine, and in a special way to welcome Bishop Cunningham, who is with us as we share this good news today. Everyone in this chapel here has some special connection with Blessed Marianne, and we are just so delighted that you could be with us at this time. I also greet the sisters from throughout the congregation who are with us by way of video conferencing, including our sisters in Hawaii, where it's still 5:30 in the morning. Well, we have our sisters in Pittsburgh, in Buffalo, and Hawaii. Good morning, sisters. Wonderful to have you with us. Before we formally get underway, I'm asking all of us to take a moment of silence in memory of our beloved Sister Mary Lawrence Hanley, who went home to God on December the 2nd, but who was the moving force behind the cause of Blessed Marianne for 37 years. And her work has brought us to this day. So let us pause and remember. We are here to say that within the last 24 hours, we have received word from the Vatican that His Holiness Pope Benedict XVI has proclaimed Blessed Marianne Cope to be canonized a saint in the Catholic Church as early as next year. I share this news with you as we gather here at her shrine, aware that her spirit still lives among us in the religious order that she was a part of. Blessed Marianne was a woman with a compassionate heart and a courageous spirit that led her to do great things, both here in Syracuse as well as in Hawaii. Here in central New York, she founded both St. Elizabeth's Medical Center in Utica and St. Joseph's Hospital in Syracuse, before beginning her work in Hawaii at the request of the king, who desired sister nurses to come to Hawaii to care for those many Hawaiians who were suffering with the afflicted disease of leprosy. In 1883, Marianne set off with 6 sisters, intending only to accompany them, get them settled, and return to Syracuse. But the story had a different ending. Upon her arrival in Hawaii, she saw the immense amount of work to be done, so she remained there for the rest of her life. And upon her death in 1918, she was buried in the settlement of Kalaupapa, where she had labored for 35 years. Her remains were exhumed and brought here to Syracuse in 2005 as part of the beatification process. And the reliquary with her remains is here at the other side of the chapel. The sisters of our community, as well as others who have known Blessed Marianne, have long regarded her as a holy woman. And today the Catholic Church officials have given her the highest honor of sainthood. One of the few saints, she will be one of the few saints named here in the United States. Therefore, it's a great joy for us as Sisters of St. Francis to share this beloved woman with the Universal Church, and especially with our friends in Hawaii, where she spent over half of her life. While canonization is an honor in the Catholic Church, the real purpose for the Church in raising up saints is to offer inspiration, encouragement, and example for holiness in our lives. We believe that the virtues of St. Marianne Cope, as she is now to be known, especially her compassion for the most outcast, her personal dedication to caring for others, and her immense charity are virtues that can be examples for our own lives. So it is in the spirit of her becoming this example of holiness that we offer the good news about her upcoming canonization ceremony. And here to add a word about Blessed Marianne's meaning in the Diocese of Syracuse, it's my pleasure to introduce Bishop Robert J. Cunningham, Bishop of Syracuse.
Thank you, Sister Patricia. This is truly a wonderful day for the Diocese of Syracuse when one of its own is raised to the heights of sanctity, to the altars. We're very grateful to God for this gift, especially at this time of year as we celebrate the feast of the Lord's birth. It's truly a Christmas present for all of us to know that Mother Marianne's long life and her dedicated service have been recognized. Mother Marianne, in a sense, embodies the good that so many people in the Church do on a daily basis, continuing right up until the present time. The Sisters of St. Francis have been a long and strong support in every aspect of diocesan life. That Mother Marianne, one of their early members, founder of St. Joseph's Hospital and St. Elizabeth's Hospital in Utica, missionary to Molokai, in all of these ways she lives and she's given, and the sisters continue to do that in the present day. She reminds us of the hundreds of sisters and the thousands of people who have called the Diocese of Syracuse home and who each strive for sanctity in their own way. The Church, in recognizing Mother Marianne, reminds us that in every age, the Church raises up men and women outstanding in holiness to be living examples of the Christian life. We thank God for the witness of their lives. In a special way today, we thank God for the witness of Mother Marianne Cope and of all that she's done and all that she's meant to so many people. We also acknowledge another woman from Central New York in the person of Blessed Kateri Tekakwitha, who was also canonized, or was also honored yesterday with the same announcement. Especially our Native American brothers and sisters in Central New York will rejoice also in her canonization. So we thank the members of the media for being here, for helping us tell the story of Mother Marianne, and for helping us invite others to follow her example in her way of life, and to pick up, in a certain sense, the tasks that have remained unfinished, and to bring others ever closer to Christ. This is our common task, our common goal, our common vocation. So we thank you for being here, and we rejoice with all of the sisters especially at this time as Mother Marianne is recognized.
Bishop Cunningham, along with Bishop Larry Silva of the Diocese of Honolulu, have been of tremendous support to the Sisters of St. Francis as we have moved through this journey toward canonization. And I'd like now to read to you a statement that Bishop Silva made upon hearing of the news about the canonization of Blessed Marianne. Bishop Silva says, in announcing the Pope's decision, he quoted Mother Marianne as saying, "We are hungry for the work, and we do not fear any disease." Her sainthood is meant to inspire us all to hunger, as she did, for the work of serving the poorest among us in the most trying of circumstances. Bishop Silva goes on to say, her impending canonization will give us courage to face the severe social and physical diseases that eat away at our society. And then he gives a personalization of this because Hawaii will now have two saints. So he goes on to say, we are twice blessed in Hawaii with the recent canonization of St. Damien, and now with the canonization, a woman of great intelligence, dedication, and love. May her legacy in healthcare, education, and spiritual nourishment of the soul move us to work without fear for all that needs to be done to bring the love of Jesus Christ to others. And we thank Bishop Silva for his encouragement and for recognizing the virtues of Blessed Marianne, which he has been such a proponent of since he became the Bishop of Honolulu. So I did want to make sure that we represented him here this morning also. It's now my pleasure to introduce Sister Grace Ann Dillenschneider, who is the Vice Postulator for the cause of Blessed Marianne. Sister Grace Ann.
Thank you very much. 37 years ago, Mother Viola Kernan, then the leader of our Franciscan community, asked our recently deceased Sister Mary Lawrence Hanley to begin working on the cause of Mother Marianne Cope for sainthood. We are now gratefully witnessing the culmination of her work as Benedict XVI confirmed and promulgated the miracle that enables Mother Marianne to be canonized as a saint. Her cause has progressed through the 3 stages that are necessary for canonization. And in the first phase, Pope John Paul II declared her venerable on April 19, 2004, after careful study and scrutiny of her life and her virtues. In the second phase, she was one of the first 2 women to be beatified in the pontificate of Pope Benedict XVI on May 14, 2005. The requisite for beatification is a miracle attributed to the intercession of Blessed Marianne following her beatification. Kate Mahoney, a student at Bishop Ludden School, recovered from complete organ failure over a period of time during the winter of 1992-1993 while a patient at Krause Medical Center. Her case was reviewed and accepted by the group of examiners at the Vatican, a panel of medical experts who unanimously agreed that Kate's healing was not medically explainable. Then by a committee of theologians who attested that the cure was attributed to the intercession of Blessed Marianne. And then the cardinals and bishops in the congregation of the saints affirmed that Mother Marianne be beatified. Kate Mahoney is not able to be here with us today, but she sends her greetings and her regrets and asks for prayers for her father who is ill. He just came home from the hospital yesterday, so she and her mother are taking care of him at home right now. So they would appreciate any prayers for him that you would say for them. But she is sorry that she is not able to be here. She would very much like to be able to talk with you directly. She is very delighted that Mother Marianne is now being recognized as a saint, and she has feelings of overwhelming joy and gratitude to Mother Marianne for what has been worked in her life and in the life of her family. In the third phase of these proceedings, leading to the canonization, There had been the same type of intense scrutiny of a second miracle that took place since her beatification. The healing of God through the intercession of Mother Marianne Cope, of Blessed Marianne Cope, was experienced by Sharon Smith, who is able to be here with us today. She was then a patient at St. Joseph's Medical Center who is suffering from acute pancreatitis that was destroying all of her organs. It was through the prayers and intercession of Blessed Marianne that Sharon was cured of that disease, and she is with us today as healthy and grateful. So I would ask Sharon if she would like to say a few words to us.
First of all, hello everybody, I'm Sharon. And I'm very happy to be here, and I thank the Lord. I'm happy to be Mother Marianne's vessel to become a saint, and I am very happy for all of the Franciscan sisters for this lovely thing for them to happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sharon. We are grateful to you. Lorraine?
I would offer the opportunity for any media present, if you have any questions for either Sister Patricia, Sister Grace Ann, or Sharon, please just wave your hand and we'll recognize you for any questions. Yes?
Could you tell me what procedurally needs to be done before canonization? She is a saint now. What does it need then to be canonized, and what kinds of steps are have to happen in the baptism?
Sister Patricia?
Well, as I've been telling some of you this morning, if there's a manual on how to make a saint, we don't have it. We have certainly got very good counsel from people in Rome, from other religious congregations who have had members of their community raised up as saints. But the next steps now, with the proclamation yesterday, it has cleared the way, and the Pope has announced that she will be proclaimed saint at a ceremony to take place in Rome sometime next year. We do not have a date as of this moment. And at that ceremony, which will take place in the Basilica of St. Peter in Rome, the ceremony will gather probably, we expect, 4 or 5 other people who will be canonized at the same ceremony. We would love it if it's Blessed Kateri Tekakwitha, but we don't know which date she will be given and which date we will be given. And the ceremony gathers people really from all over the world, including our own pilgrims that will accompany us to a very celebration-type mass at St. Peter's. And again, the proclamation is made, and large banners, like 40 or 50 times the size, will be hung on the exterior walls of St. Peter of all of those to be part of the canonization ceremony. So from here on in, technically she is St. Marianne Cope. It will probably be more official, and we'll see it in print a lot more after that ceremony. But in our hearts, she's there and is already St. Marianne Cope, which is how we will refer to her in the future. I guess Bishop is shaking his head. Yes, the Sisters of St. Francis will be planning a pilgrimage. The diocese will be planning, and when Blessed Marianne was beatified, so did the Diocese of Honolulu. We probably had total about 800 people with us for the beatification between Hawaii and the United States. So all of that will get underway, and as soon as we have a date. That's what's a little difficult right now, to do any planning, because we're still waiting on that. The question is, what is the significance of having a saint come from, say, central New York? I think because the reason we have the saints is to offer edification and inspiration for our own lives. When it's within a proximity where you can visit the shrine, read her story, see memorabilia of the time of her work in Hawaii, I think it makes it more real. And the ability to come here in a site, the chapel that Blessed Marianne worshipped in and when she was here in Syracuse, is this same site. That chapel was replaced by this one, but it's where she actually lived, and we still have the same front door that she left through when she went to Hawaii. So I think the significance of having the tangible signs of her life among us remind us of her and then remind us of her virtues.
This may be a question for Bishop Marianne. We have a large population in central New York that is non-Catholic. And it's a question that may be asked by some Catholics as well, just what the role of saints are in the modern day church.
Well, for Catholics, and hopefully for all people, a saint gives us an example of a person who lives a good life and gives us the example of the witness of a good life leading us ever closer to holiness. So I think that sometimes we get caught up in the day-to-day activities and we forget about the people who continue to do good work in the church today, and we remember and we look for inspiration from those who have gone before us. When we talk about Mother Marianne, Blessed Marianne, Saint Marianne, becoming a saint, we're saying that the church officially recognizes this woman as a saint. But you know, there's a lot of other saints that have lived here in the Diocese of Syracuse through the years. We celebrate them on All Saints. Not publicly recognized by the church, but nevertheless have lived holy lives. And we believe are rejoicing with God in the joy of all eternity. But for Mother Marianne, it's special. We have this public figure recognized as a person of heroic virtue, outstanding holiness. And we hope that her life will inspire others to follow her good example.
And if I might just add to that, in response to the question maybe from people who are not of the Catholic faith, Blessed Marianne's whole work was to people in need. And even in that small part of Molokai where she ministered, there were people of every faith. So her work was very universal, and it was to people in need for whom she could give some care. The legacy of our sisters who carry on in our present-day ministries is very often to people in need without recognition of what religion they are. So I feel that that's probably one of the major things about her life is it was to people in need and not necessarily just to people of a specific religion. And that has given us inspiration for our work here in her legacy, that we will be there for people who need our services.
Is that what, I guess, elevates her beyond? Many, many, many sisters have done great, wonderful work like this, but what makes her different?
Well, I believe that what makes her different has to do with the period of history in which she served. And yes, many sisters have continued to do good things. Because at the time that she left for Hawaii, and I often have thought about this myself, she didn't have a GPS or she couldn't Google Earth to find out where were the Sandwich Islands, which were the geographic names for the Hawaiian Islands at the time. That she left on tremendous faith of having letters and a delegate of the King of Hawaii come to visit her. So she had a sense of the need of the people, But I think really it was when she got there and never returned that she understood the immensity of the need that was there. What she did was also live in personal sacrifice. I have personally visited Kalapapa over the last 6 or 7 years a number of times. It is still a very remote place, so I can't even imagine how primitive it was in her day. So I think perhaps it shows how this woman went beyond the daily comforts of herself, the daily ability to work with people but return to some kind of comfort in the evening. So what makes her different, I think, is the period of time in which she ministered, being separated from her family, which were all here in Utica and the community here in Syracuse, living for those 35 years in the remote settlement of Kalapapa, never getting to go on a home visit, hardly even leaving the island. So I think it's those personal sacrifices that she made that show that in a very concrete way she was a woman of a generous heart. So in a sense she stands a little bit of head and shoulders above all the rest of us. Yes.
I think one of the prophetic legacies that she left the community was that the sisters went to Hawaii and might have been afraid of the disease. She prophesied that none of the sisters would ever get the disease, and none ever did.
Right. And that we've had sisters serving in Hawaii, and we still have 3 sisters at Kalapapa, and none of our sisters have ever contracted the disease. And that is a great blessing for the community.
Just to clarify, somebody mentioned she will be or is only the 11th saint canonized in America, but somebody further mentioned a distinction regarding her being female, and I didn't know if she was perhaps only the second or third, if you knew how many.
If I am correct, and I believe in the media kits you will find some more, but I think she becomes the 6th American woman or will be among, like if Kateri Tekakwitha becomes 6 and she's 7, I don't know what order that'll be, but right now, as I understand, there are 10 from the United States, and she will be the 6th woman or 7th woman. Roseanne?
And I think her leadership as a woman who established hospitals and was instrumental in bringing the medical school to Syracuse. At a time when women weren't seen or heard, and she did this all before she was 35%.
Yes. Sister Roseanne was, if you didn't hear it, was saying that in the days that Marianne lived, the role of women in public roles, such as administrators of hospitals, was almost unheard of. And yet she established 2 hospitals, St. Elizabeth's and St. Joseph's, before she was 35 years old. Set them up, then left. And actually, one of the accounts of her life when she reached Hawaii, I think she was only in Hawaii, in Honolulu, 3 or 4 months when the people of Maui asked her to come and set up a hospital there. And after some resistance on her part, because there was enough work in Honolulu, she did go to Maui, and for several months, she and another sister set up a hospital there. And that hospital, as St. Elizabeth's and St. Joseph's, exists to this very day.
Will there be any changes here? Will this become a place for pilgrimages? People will become visiting here? Is there, I don't know, I don't want to sound crass, but will there be a tourist kind of...
The question is, will people frequent and visit here? And the answer is yes. But it is pilgrimage and not tourists. We try to make that point when people come. We've had the shrine open since her beatification on Wednesday afternoons and Saturday afternoons, and usually in the very good weather, which we appreciate in Central New York, we do have tours from other cities. We've had a number of tours from Buffalo, from Massachusetts, bus tours that come, and we continue to have the shrine open, and in another portion of the house, we have a museum, which is also open to the public on those days, which has the story of her time in Hawaii, along with a lot of memorabilia. And we expect to do more publicizing of the shrine so that we can invite more people to come here and to visit and pray and learn about her life and how she exemplified the Christian values.